So if you want to fine-tune your reading of Qur'an, learning these symbols is a must. On the right side here, you see all the variations of tanween in the Holy Qur'an. Tanween is the addition of noon at the end of a word. Normally you will see this sign if you read any Arabic text. In the Qur'an, however, there are 3 variations for each type of tanween, and this is what they mean. The first sign is the normal tanween, in which you will fully pronounce and show the noon at the end of the word, like in this example. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. The second sign means tanween with assimilation. Assimilation means fusing the noon with whatever sound that comes after it, like in this example. وَعَلَى أَبْصَارِهِمْ غِشَاوَةٌ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. So we fused the noon at the end of غِشَاوَةٌ with the waw that comes after it. So غِشَاوَةٌ وَلَهُمْ. The third variation means that you turn the noon in the tanween into a meme, like in this example. أَفَكُلَّمَا جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ بِمَا لَا تَهْوَى. So we turned the noon at the end of رَسُولٌ into a meme, as you can see in this example. The best way to train this is using ayahs that contain all 3 of them to hear the difference properly, like in this example. صُمٌّ بُكْمٌ عُمْيٌ فَهُمْ لَا يَرْجِعُونَ. Tanween al-Fath will have the same variations with a little bit of difference. So the first sign will be the full tanween, in which you will fully pronounce the noon at the end of the word, like in this example. وَكُلَا مِنْهَا رَغَدًا حَيْثُ شِئْتُمَا. And this sign means the assimilation of noon with the coming sound, like this example. وَأُتُوا بِهِ مُتَشَابِهًا وَلَهُمْ فِيهَا. The last sign will be turning the noon at the end of the tanween into a meme, like this example. وَلَنْ يَتَمَنَّوْهُ أَبَدًا بِمَا قَدَّمَتْ أَيْدِيهِمْ. Last is the tanween of kasr and its variations. And these are not so different from the previous 2. So this one is pronouncing the noon of the tanween, like وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. And this one for assimilation. لَن نَصْبِرَ عَلَى طَعَامٍ وَاحِدٍ فَادْعُ لَنَا رَبَّكَ. And the last sign is turning the noon at the end of the tanween into a meme. Next is a sign that looks a little bit like the sad, and it actually stands for wasl, and it refers to the hamzat wasl, and it means that the hamza or the alif is not pronounced, like in this example. فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى لَا انْفِصَامَ لَهَا. As you can see, I'm completely ignoring the alif in istamsak. So I said فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ. And the same way in the following word, لَا انْفِصَامَ لَهَا. So the alif is completely not pronounced. Next is the sign that looks like sukoon. However, it is not a sukoon. Normally in Arabic texts, this sign would mean sukoon. In Qur'an, however, it means that you will not pronounce the letter at all. For example, Allahu waliyyu alladhina amanu yukhrijuhum. Now, as you can see, there is an alif, and above the alif is this sign. It looks like a circle, and it means that the alif is not pronounced. So we say amanu, not amanua. Another example is وَلَا تَقُولَنَّ لِشَيْءٍ إِنِّي فَاعِلٌ. Now, as you can see, the alif in shay, it is written, but it is not pronounced. So we say shay. The alif is not there. And if we read a little bit further, you'll see another example. وَلَبِثُوا فِي كَهْفِهِمْ 300 سِنِينَ. again in the word labithu and in mi'a. So we don't say mi'a, we say mi'a. So there is no alif there. Next is the sign that looks like a zero. And this is an interesting sign because when you see it above the alif, it means that you pronounce it. You pronounce the alif if you stop at this word. But if you continue, you will not pronounce it. Like in this example. So if you stop at the word, you will have to pronounce the alif. And you will say, وَهُوَ يُحَاوِرُهُ أَنَا. But if you continue, you will not pronounce the alif. وَهُوَ يُحَاوِرُهُ أَنَا أَكْثَرُ مِنْكَ مَالًا. So I didn't pronounce the alif when I continued reading the word. Another example which is a bit more common when it comes at the end of the ayah, like in this example. يا ليتنا أطعنا الله وأطعنا الرسول. So the alif is pronounced because I stopped at the end of the word. Next is a sign that looks like a full circle. And this sign refers to an exceptional pronunciation for whatever it comes above or under. And in the first case, it comes above the alif to tell us that this alif is less heavily pronounced. So instead of saying a'jami, you're going to make it less heavily pronounced and you would say a'jami wa arabi. Next example, and when it comes under the ra, and in this case you will do what we call imala, which is not fully pronouncing the alif, and it would sound like that. Bismillahi majriha wa mursaha. The last example is when it comes above the meme, replacing the noon. Here you have actually two choices. The first one is to fully pronounce the noon. So you'd say ما لك لا تأمننا على يوسف. Or you don't pronounce the first noon, and you would instead put your lips in a position as if you pronounce the noon, and it would sound like this. ما لك لا تأمنا على يوسف. Next is the sign that looks like a small ha. And this sign is actually the sign that refers to the sukoon. There's also another sign for sukoon in Qur'an, and that is completely nothing. Like in this example. وَلَن تَرْضَى عَنْكَ الْيَهُودِ. Now, as you can see, the noon in len has sukoon, but there is nothing there. And in the word tarda, there is a sukoon above the ra. So this sign refers to the sukoon. Next is this sign, and this means the addition of ya, like in Surah Quraysh. لِإِيلَافِ قُرَيْشٍ إِيلَافِهِمْ رِحْلَةَ الشِّتَاءِ. Now, as you can see, there is no ya in the word إِيلَافِهِمْ. But there is this sign which tells us that there is a ya that we should pronounce it. Exactly like the ya in the first ayah, لِإِيلَافِ. So there is a ya here. This is a pretty common sign. It could be a little bit confusing if you forget to pronounce the ya in some positions. Next is the sign that looks like a waw, and it is exactly what you think it looks like. It is also the addition of a waw that is not actually there. So you should pronounce it even though it is not written in there. Like in this example. وَإِنَّ مِنْهُمْ لَفَرِيقًا يَلْوُونَ أَلْسِنَتَهُمْ. So there is two wows here. One of them is already written, but the other one we have this sign to tell us that it is there. So you would say يَلْوُونَ. Next is the sign that looks like a small alif, and it is actually an alif that is not in the word. Like Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So we say Ar-Rahman, not Ar-Rahman. So there is an alif that is not part of the word. Next is the sign that looks like a noon. Again, this also refers to the noon, a noon that is not there in the ayah, but you must pronounce it. Like وَكَذَلِكَ نُنْجِي الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Last is the sin, and there are two possibilities here for this scene. The first is when it comes above the sad, like what you see here, like in this example. Wallahu yaqbidu wa yabsutu. And it means that even though the word is originally pronounced or written using the sad, like in this example, it is better or more common to pronounce the sin instead of sad. So it is better to say wa yabsutu. So you pronounce the sin instead of the sad. If it is the other way around, meaning that the sin is under the sad, that means that it is more common to pronounce this word with the sad instead of the sin, like in this example. أَمْ هُمُ الْمُصَيْطِرُونَ. So, in this example, it is better or more common to pronounce this word using the sad instead of the sin. So for those who watched the video until the end, I have a gift for you. You can find it in the description, download it, and use it for whatever is good. Thanks for watching. If you liked what you've seen today or learned something new, make sure you like and share the video for other people to learn from it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.